So somebody asked me recently, bioidentical hormone therapy, what is that? Why does it have a BHRT instead of HRT, which I hear about all the time, maybe at my OBGYN's office or my primary care. Is the B really necessary? And yes, 100% it is. So let's break it down a little bit in terms of the differences between BHRT and just HRT. BHRT, again, stands for bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, something I stumbled into, something I was not taught in PA school, something that was not in the OBGYN lectures or even honestly in the OBGYN rotations of clinic back when I was a student and things. So I was very, very unaware that this was even an option for people as a clinician. And so BHRT versus HRT, well, what that really refers to is the source of the hormone that you are giving back to your body. HRT usually refers to synthetic products that were derived from pregnant horse urine. You may or may not know that. For example, birth control pills derived largely from pregnant horse urine. An estrogen gel that you can get from CVS, Target, Walgreens, derived largely from a pregnant horse urine source. BHRT, however, is derived from plants, usually soy or a yam-based product. If you have a soy allergy, very few people react to the soy extract, just FYI, but there is yam out there, so you can have a different solution if need be. So anyways, BHRT though, from a soy or yam-based product, they extract the cholesterol molecule out of the plant. I believe it's called diosinogen. Pronunciation, do not come after me. But they take the cholesterol molecule essentially, and then they chemically convert it into the same structure that you and I have as estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone in our own bodies. And so that's a very big difference. And because we have a different product, because we have a different molecule, we're going to have different research-based outcomes. Now, in the United States, a lot of the research is pharmaceutically driven because it's patentable, it's profitable, and that's just a fact. That's not necessarily a dig. When you do the research then on these FDA approved products that have gone through rigorous testing, quality trials, you would hope, and all the other things to get it on the shelf to market, a lot of that research then is going to gain the megaphone and the mouthpiece in the medical community. And so, for example, there's something called the Women's Health Initiative trial. It was one of the largest studies done here in America on primarily postmenopausal females who used what I like to call estrogen, not estradiol. Estradiol, when I say estradiol, that refers to BHRT, soy and yam-based products that are same chemical structure as what you have in your body. It was done on postmenopausal women that used synthetic estrogen from pregnant horse urine and synthetic progestin, not progesterone. Progesterone is what I like to call for the bioidentical product. So synthetic progestin and then synthetic estrogen coming from pregnant horse urine was studied in postmenopausal females. And they had interesting outcomes without going into the wholeness of that study, which I will in another time. Basically, it showed that there were some red flags within the first year of starting brand new hormone therapy. However, just so you know, it was not statistically significant. And so technically, it should not have ever been a black box warning. However, it became such. And when that happened, the whole hormone community kind of froze and paused. And the demand and delivery for it really decreased. Now, that was not a study performed on bioidentical hormones. A lot of the bioidentical hormone research community publications and literature comes from European models. And so we actually also do not have here in this postmodern American world many comparative studies that fleece before you is BHRT or HRT more efficacious? Is it better long term? Does it improve cardiovascular outcomes? Does it regenerate bone health as it should? Things of that nature. Those questions have not been answered in a tit for tat, one versus the other, randomized controlled trial, placebo-based large study. And so we don't have that answer for you necessarily as clinicians, but we can find other community models to give you access to some of that information. It just may not be reflective of the American demographic that you currently are living in. So BHRT versus HRT largely boils down to the product sourcing and what you're actually putting in your body. One is chemically, structurally supposed to be the same, identically. And those are largely made in compounding pharmacies, which is a caveat because you really can't patent something that's naturally occurring in nature. And so compounding pharmacies will make money off of the product, for example, like a cream, but they can't patent it and therefore they won't make bukus of millions because it's not something that they discovered and that they have a stake in from a profitable solution standpoint. So BHRT versus HRT, yes, they're different. When you read your Shape magazine, women, over the counter at the grocery store, does anybody actually even do that anymore? Everything's such digital. Just know that all hormone therapy or all estrogen is not actually the same. You really need to get into the nitty gritty of where that source came from because the outcomes delivered from a different product makes sense, very common sense, actually have different deliverable benefits or detriments to you. And so you need to work with a provider who knows the differences between the two things. So that's a little bit of synopsis on BHRT versus HRT. More will come. Great book to read, by the way. Neil Rouzier, Normal is Not Optimal. About, I would say weekend read, $20 online. We'll get a link for people if they want it. But we'll go into more of the nitty gritty behind that, especially the WHI trial, the Women's Health Initiative on the synthetic hormone products, because there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of miseducation surrounding that I think would calm a lot of fears, especially for females, as to what this whole hormone therapy replacement community really needs to believe.